Delta Kid, help us with crews for the new hostels. Anyone using Spike crew for the new hostels? I have tried that. We can look at what I've done earlier today. I did a few kills this morning with mixed results. Strange New Worlds crew, I mean, it worked. Took a crap load of damage. Obviously got through all the shields and took a big chunk of hull health. This is hitting the 57s. The system I have to fight in also has 55s in it. So I was able to have some better results against a 55, taking a little less damage. I also swapped out officers and put DCS in to try and speed the fight up a little bit. That one went okay. Here's a 55 from earlier with the first crew. So you can see here I still took a decent chunk of damage. There is a great parity with these hostiles. And you are forced into very specific systems because they work completely different from every other hostile loop we've seen before. So, yeah, well, we've got, because there's two things going on here. So, number one, hang on, where's our new systems? So, this particular new loop created 6 different currencies. And that is brand new to this type of mechanic, because every other mechanic we've seen so far, you know, Borg, Axion, other things like that, you know, the Zindi hostels, it's always been, you go into the, even Voyager too, right? You go into the token systems, or even just a hostile system, they all use the same currency. The higher level ones just drop more of it. Well, this time around, they put 6 currencies in. 3 uncommons and 3 rares. And they divided them up every 5 levels. So if you're 41 through 45, you need uncommon loot. If you're 46 to 50, you need one of the G4 rare loot. Then you get to 51 and it goes back to G5 uncommon loot. And when you get to 55, it switches over to G5 rare loot. And the same thing for G6 in both of those systems as well. So you have almost no incentive, actually there really is no incentive to do any farming or grinding against hostiles that are outside of your particular level bracket. And a lot of people found this out the hard way this morning because they went and killed stuff thinking like they normally would. Let me just go test this system. Let me go see what's going on here and figure this out. And they got a bunch of 4-star uncommon loot or 5-star whatever uncommon loot and then went to refine it, only to find out that their only refinery option here is for something different. And if you're wondering how to get, you know, what you need, it will tell you right here on your artifact screen. And you can always click up here and it will also tell you this is where you have to go and this is what hostiles will drop it. And this caught a lot of people off guard because this is new. This isn't the way it's ever worked before. And it wasn't announced in the patch videos and it wasn't something that was discussed in the patch notes that there were all of these different currencies. That's probably a little bit of a missing communication. I mean, obviously the information is right here in the game. It would have been helpful if they said like, hey, this is a different loop than you've experienced before. But, you know, it's day one. We figured some stuff out. People wasted a few tokens and whatnot. Now, why are you seeing players, like Delta Kid points out, that the high-level players are flooding the low-level systems? Well, it's 2 reasons. One, because of the targets that they have to hit, a lot of people aren't able to kill them with their current ships. You know, if you're 46 to 50, you have to hit these rare hostiles. And if you can't kill a rare hostile because your ships aren't strong enough to do it, then you can't get any of the loot that you need and you can't get any kills that you need. And there are multiple events running right now that require you to actually score kills. This Into the Unknown SMS pays points based on each hostile you kill. So if you want to get your event store currency, you need kills. So they're ranking down, they're just wasting a token, they're just killing hostiles that are well beneath them, that they're going to get currency from the loot bundles that they can't do anything with, but they're doing it just to complete the event because you have to complete this event and the next 2 days events to finish this other Are We Alone to get all this extra event store currency because it's an event store month. There's also another event. Is it in Artifact Hunt? Yes, there's an SLB in this other folder that also gives you points for destroying enemies, and it's an SLB that also is giving out event store currency. So you're seeing people rank down and just go farm lower level systems, because this particular one is 70 points per kill. Doesn't matter what you kill, what level, there's no difference in the bonuses for it. So if you want that extra event store currency to finish there, or possibly even this frame, I think that's what it is, that's a frame, right? Yeah, the Universal Translator frame. If you want that frame and you're trying to get into the top 5, then the smart solution to score in is to take your very big ship and go hit in the smallest level systems and just keep getting 70 points, and just grind away to try and place on that leaderboard. Frustrating for the players who are supposed to be in that ops level system, because you're taking all the good targets from them. Some of these systems have multiple level hostiles, right? They've got 46s and 49s. Well, if I can only kill 46s and I go to this system to fight them, and it's full of G5 players with their Sanctus and or G6 players and their big ships, and they're just killing all the 46s that they see and just leaving all the 49s behind. Well, eventually you'll have a whole system of 49s, and there's nothing for me to kill. And now I've basically just have to leave my ship there until they decide to clear out some of those 49s and more 46s spawn, so maybe I have a shot to kill something, whatever the case may be. So it's definitely a convoluted day one with everything that's going on here. With people trying to do what they can to engage in the loop, and other people trying to do what they can to just get points for the SLB event or the SMS events. Uh, definitely, definitely quite a kerfuffle we got going on there. So, what's in the event store that's worth anything? Well, that's the other thing, too. Obviously, the event store does look very thin right now. That is going to change. I believe I've heard people saying that they've already reached out to the NDA team, Stewie, Lube, DJ, Rev, no one, and said, "Hey guys, talk to your communities, get some feedback from people. Like, what things do we want to see in the event store?" Because they're open-minded to adding things. It probably won't be for a week. So whatever this first event is right here, Career Advancement SLB, which is a 5-day event, right, to spend your event store currency. This is, one of those events, again, where you finish in the top 25 of one of the 3 weeks, or one of the 3 5-day events. And then when you get to the very end of the month, there'll be another 5-day event that'll have better rewards in it, right? So this is essentially what this will be. This will run 3 times. You have to finish in the top 25 in your bracket once, and then you get invited to the final one at the end of the month to spend the rest of your coins, and most likely it'll have a better officer in there for it. So I would not expect anything new to be added to the event store within this 5-day window here, but it's very likely when we come back on Monday, Tuesday of next week, they'll have gotten some feedback, they'll have gotten some ideas together, and they'll have made some updates and adjustments. They don't do anything on weekends, so they'll probably push them through, Monday afternoon, Monday evening. And then on Tuesday, you would see, hey, we've got some new items in the event store to choose from. That would be my guess based on how this has kind of gone before, and, the conversation sounding similar, or at least relayed to be similar. So there may be some more items coming to the store soon. Carissa thinks that the multiple types of currency drops is the worst thing they've ever done. It's going to take me 5 days to do a 1 chest pull at 55 because you can't punch down. A lot of players are stuck in that same boat, Carissa, and they're all saying kind of the same sentiment. And then, of course, the answer is always, well, this is just day 1 of this event, right? Just give it some time. You'll get the 56 soon. You'll get your better ship soon, and then it'll be a lot easier. You're just kind of stuck in an in-between point. But this is a new loop and a new content. Not everything should be accessible to everybody on day 1, right? It's got to be a challenge for somebody. Just happens to be it's a challenge for you right now. And the same thing is true. Like, I'm struggling. I haven't been able to kill one yet on my 46 account. So I'm going to have to rank down and just go hit 41s and waste a token in order to finish the SMS event, because I can't kill a 46. So It's I can get close, but ship's just not strong enough. Not enough hull, not enough officer slots. So until I build my pylum this weekend on that account, um, not going to be able to participate in the loop very much. They'll take the feedback and then sell it to us. Anything's possible. I think, again, they know that the event store has gotten stale with just putting the same stuff in it time after time. So the fact that they're at least open-minded to trying to add some new things to it, and that they're asking for it this early, like they came to those guys. Normally it's, hey, we're hearing feedback from players. Can we get some of this stuff added? Rev and DJ will put together, compile a list. They'll send it over, and it'll have like 15 things on it. And then maybe we'll get like 5. Because it's stuff that we're saying, like, hey, we want this, we want this. And they're like, yeah, we feel like the store is pretty good. This time around, they're sort of coming to them right off the bat saying, hey, we know the store looks a little light. Let us know some of the things you'd like to have added to it. So they're at least changing the narrative a little on that, which is refreshing. Instead of us having to come hat in hand going, please, sir, can I have some more stuff in the store, please? They're at least approaching it from a different angle this time around. I would not expect the NX01 to be added. That is new content from this month, maybe next event store in, June, July, whatever it happens to be. Maybe by then, but I would not expect the NX01 to be added to the event store. It's still brand new content from this arc. So that's unlikely to be added. I mean, obviously they'll ask and see if they'll put it on the list, but I wouldn't hold my breath waiting for that one. So if you don't have Tucker, is there a working crew for the events? Again, there's a number of crews that you can try, and depending on the tiers of your officer, the strength of your ship, really the hull strength of your ship sometimes, how many officer slots you can bolster with that. You know, different crews are going to work for different people based on your ships and your ops level and types of hostiles you have to hit. Staying within the triangle is very important. You need high mitigation on these things. We look at the battle logs. I mean, I'm fighting battle ships, and obviously I know some of them have different buffs, but the battle ships right off the bat, critical chance, 100% first 4 rounds. Every shot is a critical. Ouch. That's what some people are saying to use Tucker, but there are other options around that as well. I mean, if you can get your mitigation to max that out, you can reduce some of the damage. Obviously, you're getting a crit damage boost. They're also burning you for 6 rounds at the start of combat. So you got burning being applied for 6 rounds. So that's why people are switching to Decius as captain in some of these crew setups, right? Lowers their hull health by 10%, like a built-in Tal, except he's actually better, and you can give him synergy. So you can burn them down in those early rounds, and that's what I was doing earlier. I think this is the better one. Yeah, so this is the one where I actually give him some synergy. So let's look at this. Let's go back and look at this one. So this particular fight here, this fight went 9 rounds. I've got him doing his burning thing, minus 10%, which will only last for the first 6 rounds. So you get him 60% down because it's just him, just his 10% reduction. So we roll this on down, and then I finish him off in round number 9. 999 Patrick, thank you very much for the follow. Welcome on in. But by switching and actually giving him synergy, now it's actually a 15% hull reduction that we're applying here because of the synergy from Charvanek. Charvanek's also giving me armor piercing, so more of my damage is going to get through and not be mitigated, and I cut the fight down to 7 rounds. I left Uhura because I want to mitigate as much of their damage as possible, and Paris alone wasn't cutting it for me below decks. As you can see from here, what are we looking at here? We're looking at 4, 3, 4, 5. 71.19, max mitigation. With only just Paris below deck, I think I was in the 60s, so I was still taking quite a lot of extra damage. And with every shot being a critical, it does add up. So this particular crew I had decent success with. My Charvanek is maxed. Um, DC is also maxed, although it's his captain's ability, and Uhura is maxed, so I'm getting good mitigation values. And then below deck, should have been Doctor Hugh and Tendi for more hull in that particular setup there. But even then, still only able to kill a couple of people per hull run. Yeah, that was Severus. Professor Snape. Have I tried Janeway with the Doctor and Data? I have not tried that crew. I've seen Janeway Torres being used quite a bit and Data, and I've tried. I haven't tried that one yet though. I don't know if I have tokens left. I have to go check. Where are these new tokens, by the way? Because they don't ever. There you go. I've got one token left. Okay, and I'll get two more tomorrow. So we can try one more crew loadout and see if it has any advantage to it. And Janeway would probably be the one. Actually, I didn't even have Paris on that crew. Okay, so maybe that's why I did it like this. So we can try it. Janeway for. Oh, you want Torres below deck for hull breach? Yeah, that could be a thing. But then you're talking about no Doctor because you want Torres, and then you need mitigation, so no Tendi. So you get Paris because you're doing. Oh, well, no, you've got Doctor up here who's going to give you mitigation, so you don't necessarily need Paris. Because he's going to give you a big boost there based on health. Okay. And then we're talking about Data. I've seen people talking about doing a crew like this. Now we're going to put Tendi back under there now. Because the Doctor should give me strong enough mitigation there. And we can go try this crew loadout here. The other thing that I've seen a lot of people doing too, take a Cerritos. Throw a Cerritos buff. Before you head into the system, camp out here, throw a Cerritos buff on, and go in. That is drastically helping as well to try and get through some of this stuff. Yeah, a couple of, Severus being an uncommon officer that nobody has seen in years, getting pulled out of the recycling bin and brought back to life and having some success. Also, it's a viable crew combination and strategy for players who, might be more free to play or more casual players. Maybe they took some time off and they missed an arc or two. Maybe they don't have, or they're newer to the game and they're just starting the last 6 months. They might not have Janeway. They might not have Data more than like tier 1 or tier 2 or some of these things. So the fact that there is, at least a working alternative for the free-to-play community in the way that this mechanic works, that's a very encouraging thing. By the way, if you didn't go to the web store and put in your code to get your extra tokens, you should definitely do that. Code is ENT3, as in Enterprise 3. You do want to make sure to get that. It gives you 3 extra warp tokens to get into here, as well as 5 shards for 3 different uncommon artifacts. But again, it does sort of dictate and rely on you having a ship that's appropriate to your ops level. Like if I was 55 or just hit 56 and I only had my Vort shot still, or like a Talios, I would be struggling mightily against this stuff. Would have very little chance of success. Now, in this particular case here, what do you see? Oh, I see a couple of other people with interceptors, and there are no battleships in this system. This one just spawned, so now we're all going to race to it. If they're not AFK. Because hitting within the triangle is also very important with these things. Okay, we got that one killed. How much damage did we take? Not bad. That one didn't go bad. This particular fight went 8 rounds. How'd we do on mitigation? It's a little light, but I'm sure it's going to get better because the doctor works based on you getting hit, doesn't he? So we start out at only 45.5% here. But then he's kicking in, and then the doctor's kicking in after getting shot there. And you can see by the next shot, so I take 45% on the first shot. If I had one more officer slot, I could put Paris below deck, and I could take even less damage on that first shot. But now the second shot fires around. And now we're up to 70%. So the doctor's kicking in and doing his job. Just have to get a little bit of damage right off the bat on that first shot, and then we're in pretty good shape after that. And then we'll keep, putting more damage into the shields and mitigating more. And now we're doing some extra isolytic damage back because of Janeway and because of data. So, solid crew option. But again, that requires you to be hitting things within the right range. If I go outside and I'm hitting, is there an interceptor? I'd rather hit an interceptor. I don't want to go completely against the triangle, but there's no interceptors. So now I'm going to go outside the triangle completely, and I'm going to win. Actually, that wasn't as bad as I thought. I thought it was going to take a lot more. Fight still went 9 rounds. Again, the first round, those first shots, hitting through pretty hard here. I'm barely mitigating, like that 30%. 33, yeah. So definitely take a beating in the first shots. Then the doctor kicks in, and now we're doing pretty good for the second round of attacks. But luckily I'm finishing the fight pretty quickly because of my enhanced damage. So that's not bad. Do these have a go home cannon? So I hear. I haven't reached around yet. We'll have to deal with that. Speedy, thank you very much for the follow. See? But again, that right there, I was just hitting the 55s, and I was doing fine. Now we switch up, and I hit the other target in the system, the 57s, and take way more damage. Way more damage. Fight goes 13 rounds, and I'm getting blasted here. This is, again, only even within the triangle. That first round, I'm only mitigating less than half. It's got to be about 40-45%. I'm getting hit pretty hard until the doctor kicks in on those subsequent shots. So, and then the fight going very long. So it would behoove me to not hit any 57s and just keep hitting 55s for a while to kill as many as I can. I don't know if these have been added to stfc.space yet. Let's see if they're in there now. Silent enemies. Yes, they are. Okay. So let's just go take a look here and see what we've got. I don't see anything in the breakdown that looks like a go-home cannon. People were talking about it. Yes, they do have one, but I am not seeing one in the actual hostile description here. What's up, Ace? Welcome on in. Insidious, good to see you. So they all seem to have the same abilities as well. Okay. Yeah, I don't see anything about a go home cannon, but that doesn't mean it's not there somewhere. Hey, Scaron, welcome on in. And that time we died. My Cerritos buff had also just worn off. So I'm probably seeing a decreased damage output as well. Oh, I just barely missed that one that time. Fight went 10 rounds. I'm hitting for less damage now because my Cerritos buff also wore off. A little less damage. Yeah, not as good as mitigation. Carissa, with no boosts, you can kill 155 using your tier 4 Corvus. With the Cerritos and Titan, you can kill 10 of them, which puts you just barely shy of one chest pull with only using one of your two tokens. Okay, you're going to need to use boosts every day in the loop at Ops 55, probably for a little bit. Probably for a little bit, but I mean, outside of Wednesdays, do you use Cerritos boosts that often? And well, the Titan buff, you have a daily to do it anyway, so might as well at least make one of, make that your daily use. You might have to hit down on Q's trials for a little bit if you're using it the other way for on those. And again, they do give you daily claims of materials for those things, so you can play around with the kind of stuff there. Scarin, you've been using Severus with Mirek for synergy and 5 for extra loot. Okay. Yeah, the Severus crew works to some degree. It just requires you to be able to survive long enough for it to actually take effect and go through. If you don't have enough hull health or if your mitigation is too low and you're just taking too much damage, that could be a problem. But yeah, these new hostels are definitely going to be a bit of a challenge. Going to take a little time to work out some crews, and more importantly, as people level up throughout the arc, again, especially people like myself. If my other account, I went to 46 last weekend before the arc ended, finishing up the Archer SMS and things like that to unlock him. But I don't have the pylon built. I can't kill anything on that account yet. So I'm going to be stuck in limbo for a little bit until I can get that going. There will be other players out there who are going to feel a little disgruntled at the start of this arc because they're stuck in one of those in-between spots, like Carissa is a little bit, where you might not be able to hit always the thing that you want, or the thing that you want to hit is being hunted by other people. But as the month goes on, and as people continue to, use the weekend events to upgrade ships and do research and things and spend materials, hopefully some of these things will become a little bit more manageable. So, good evening, Deathkill, and thank you very much for renewing your subscription with Twitch Prime for 7 months. Happy Arc Launch Day. You were thinking of using Charvanek instead, but she does make for a good away team officer. But yeah, I mean this little Severus group here has some decent options in it. So you got Severus as captain. While the ship is burning from the opponent, he decreases their hull health by 10% each round. These things give you burning for 6 rounds. Uh-oh. We got an incoming raid. Just in time for a hype train, too. First off, Lloydson, thank you very much for renewing your subscription as well for month number 4. And then Luby raiding on in with him and Rev Deuce and Sylvis and Stewie and Minnie and Jules was on there for a while, and everybody else who was having some fun. Thank you all very, very much for coming on over. Good evening. Cheers. Salutations. And welcome to our stream tonight. Emily, thank you for the 100 bits. Sil, Atu, Check, Coldbane, Air Power, thank you all very much for the follows. Hope you guys had a fun time playing some marbles, winning some battle passes, whether you were on Stewie's stream, I'm sorry, on Lube's stream. Stewie hasn't taken over yet. He's secretly still plotting in the background. Um, or you were hanging out with Rev and then, raided on over, and now you're coming over to see me too. Just hitting the trifecta, right? All in a row. Zill, thank you for the follow. Stewie, thank you for resubscribing with Prime for 9 months now. Kitty wants me to do a stretch. We can do a stretch. We can do a good stretch. Oh, arms up, straight forward. We are definitely still tired. I'm not. The soreness is finally gone. It took like 4 days after all those push-ups last Thursday, but we're in good shape now. So thank you guys all very much for coming on over. Air Power, you've been enjoying my YouTube content. Thank you for watching and subscribing over there. I appreciate it. So, Tell you figured out an optimal crew for the 38s and 39s. Yeah, we saw a couple on Lube and Rev streams where they were talking about using the Enterprise with Janeway, and I think it was Balana that they were using Janeway, Torres, and Kirk on the Enterprise, with obviously loaded up below decks. With I'm gonna guess that's probably Tendi Mariner and Hugh, or yeah. Well, it's the Enterprise. Wait, it's maxed. You got like 7 officer slots. Yeah, just load that up with every away team off or every below deck officer you got, right? Just load them all up. And if you got a maxed Harry Kim, I don't think anybody's got a maxed Harry Kim, but if you did, and if you got a good workout just watching me the other night, there you go. That's what a lot of people said. They're like, Jesus, I couldn't do 3 push-ups, let alone, nearly 250. Yeah, if you had Harry Kim maxed, um, raise your hand if you have a tier 5 Harry Kim. I don't. Does anybody in the chat have a tier 5 Harry Kim? Rico, you got a tier 5 Harry Kim? Okay. You have a level 5 Harry Kim? Yeah. Yeah, these are my below deck officers. None of them are maxed. I kind of shared the love, trying to get them all equally. Have not really done a lot with formation armadas to continue to work on sourcing these guys. That's my fault. Probably should have made that a bigger priority, as they are certainly more valuable now. I did just tier the Doctor up. He just hit tier 3 this morning. My rare loot box gave me the 3 shards I needed to tier him up there. So. Oh, you were grinding reps, so you wanted. Okay, there you go. Yeah, exactly. So most people are going to have to go through with the Enterprise with Kirk on a bridge officer slot, because you're just not going to have the Harry Kim below decks to free that spot up. So, and it's probably not worth taking the chance on the risk of him only being like a 30% proc rate. You need that pretty consistently. So, Django, thanks for the hydrate. And I can't even pronounce it. Dio. We're just going to go with Dio. Dio, thank you very much for the follow as well. I can't figure out where to put the emphasis on those syllables there, so we're just going with Dio. You get them from the X-Borg eventually, too. So there's a number of different options that you can choose. Let me hang on. Let me go check my PM from Tel here. Okay, let's open this up. So this is what two members of my other alliance on my free-to-play account were using. They're both level 39, so they're using a maxed out enterprise with this crew combination, obviously loading up some extra stats here to help trigger Tom Paris's ability to keep your mitigation as high as possible. You've got Troy here giving some extra critical damage as well to kind of help out with some of these things. Now, the other option would be, depending on tiers and things like that, if you wanted mitigation and synergy, like you could put the Doctor here and move Balana below decks, and then that could trigger hull breach, which might get you more. I don't know. I don't know if that would give you more damage output than having the hull breach there compared to her. Because I think she does what? She does piercing, is her officer ability. Good evening, Lube. Good to see you again. Yeah, so she's giving you piercing, allowing them to mitigate less of your damage. If you're hitting with the triangle, you start to be fairly decent in that. So you might be able to, and it might be something to try and play around with. But obviously, the brunt of it is Janeway and Kirk on the Enterprise, and then somebody giving her synergy to really boost that mitigation value. So you try the Doctor above decks, but Balana worked better. Okay, okay. Yeah, on paper you would think that the hull breach with Hugh would work out better, but I guess, and maybe it's a tier thing. Maybe it's what tier your officers are and what values you're getting off them. But again, at least there's a starting point for you guys. If you're, in one of those ops brackets that might be struggling a little bit, there's a potential opportunity for you to get some kills in